Guys, alert, alert, alert. We have breaking news. Zach Bryan and Brianna Chickenfry have broken up, but we're going to cover it better than anyone else. My name is Ice, and with us, as always, is Dixon. How are you?
Ice. Speaking of heading south, I mean, this relationship seems like it was heading south, unfortunately. And you broke this story in reality, and here we are to kind of add some context to the idea, right?
Yes, absolutely. We got a lot of background information. You'll look at a lot of videos that are covering this. They're all like 1 minute videos. People don't do it like we do, I guess. But
People don't. They just don't get the art of the long form video.
Exactly, exactly. So we're gonna cover it. We got some information here. We're not gonna waste your time by blabbing on about stuff. But we're gonna cover it, and you're gonna get something out of this. I think we're gonna shed some light on what's actually happening.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And in the interest of not wasting your time, here's our comment of the week with Ice and Dixon. This is actually an interesting one because it might actually make me ask a question or two. But it's on our video. I think probably the first thing we ever reviewed. It's a clip from a show we did, and it was the Pink Floyd and the Wizard of Oz, Dark Side of the Moon. If you play it with the Wizard of Oz,
yes,
and that reaction.
Yes.
So this is from Sue V33358. Capital S, capital lowercase U, capital V, Suv 33358. I love this theory, even though it's BS. Smiley face emoji. And I'm wondering, is this not true?
You know, I've heard both sides, and some people say it's BS, and you could play this other song, this other album, and it fits up perfectly. But then other people will criticize and say, well, no, it really doesn't. But when you listen to that album with that movie, and being my first time listening to it, it felt like it synced up almost too perfectly, in my opinion. It was almost too good for it to be fake.
Yeah, I hear you, and that's what I've heard too. So our friend who kind of talked about this, he always said, "Oh, the third lion roar," and then I think the album is only like 30 or 40 minutes. Like it's the first 30 or 40 minutes, and then you go from there. But yeah, it definitely syncs up just perfectly. And I was telling some people about this just recently, and they had never heard of this before.
I thought this was like a big pop culture thing. I thought like everyone knew about this. I thought so
too. Yeah, that's so too. I'm like, oh, you guys don't know about this? Like they were shocked to hear it.
Wow.
So I didn't share our video because who knows what they're going to say. But
yeah, I'll just say this. I want to believe, and it might be more fun. I want to believe it. It might be more fun just thinking about it like that. But even all aside, even if it doesn't.
Yes.
Even if this wasn't on purpose, it is amazingly still synced up. It might be a coincidence. Even if it is, it doesn't. In my opinion, it doesn't matter at this point. It's just the experience you get from it is awesome.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that sums it all up. And exactly right. It's all about the experience, just like this show. So there is our comment of the week featuring Ice and Dixon. So, real quick, I have a question for you. This Brianna Chickenfry, is this a person that we're supposed to be aware of? Like, are we supposed to know who this is? Because I have no idea who she is.
If you are in the Barstool universe, which...
Oh, yes, that's right. I do know that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which I'm not. And I think she's on this thing called the BFFs podcast with Mr. Dave Portnoy and some other guy. I'm not into Bryce, I think his name is, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I'm aware of Bryce, I think. Yeah. And then you have the big guy. There's the big guy. Isn't the big guy there? Is his name Frank?
Oh yeah, Frank. I think he might be on there too. I'm not honestly entirely sure, but
either way, nonetheless.
But nonetheless, she's someone. Well, she got famous on TikTok. She was a TikTok star. I think that's how Dave Portnoy found out about her, and then said, "Hey, you should come do a podcast." And
interesting. Okay, gotcha. BFFs. Right, BFFs. And somehow Zach Bryan and this Brianna Chickenfry somehow met and they got together.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think we might have talked about this because we talked about Zach Bryan and his music a few videos back, several months back, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It seems as if Zach Bryan isn't all that great of a guy, from what I understand. Like, I don't think he's like that good of a guy.
That's what it seems like. Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
I'm glad you mentioned his music too, because now this is what was interesting to me when I was looking into this. You listen to Zach Bryan's music, and I don't know what you get from, I don't know what people like generally get from it, but I feel like it's coming from like a heartfelt place. I feel one of his first albums, I think is pretty raw in my opinion. I feel like it's pretty
for sure.
heartfelt. There's a lot of emotion there, big connection, and you listen to this and it's kind of shocking. It's kind of jarring that someone could make music that's this passionate about a woman, someone you love, and then you go and break their heart.
Yeah, hey, that's true. I guess that's showbiz. I guess, you know.
I guess that's how it's worked. Now Zach Bryan has an album. I believe it's called Elizabeth. Is that correct? I think that was one of his
fairly certain, yes,
earlier albums, or at least there's a song about it. But
yeah,
that song is apparently about his first love, who was Rose.
Right. Rose. Okay.
Yes.
And what's interesting to me is that, you know, Zach Bryan is a pretty, I think, young guy. Mm-hmm. And I guess, I don't know why it should be surprising. Yeah. He's born in 96. I mean, 28 years old.
28 years old. Yep.
So he's been active writing songs. He was in the army. He's in the army in high school. He's writing songs. He's writing songs in the army. Mm-hmm. I mean, people in their 20s don't have a whole heck of a lot to say. And,
right.
And he does. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised because let's get the context. I guess this is where you have to start and end. So we all know big fan favorite big friend and fan of the show, Bob Dylan. And then we have a biography coming out about him, starring Timothy from Dune. I don't know how to say his last name.
Very excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so when Bob Dylan's 23 years old, he writes the song "Boots of Spanish Leather." Mm-hmm. The girl is going away on a trip, and he's like, "Well," she goes, "What do you want me to send you?" And he's like, "Well, just come back." And she's like, "Well, no, I don't know. What do you want me to? Do you want something to remember me by?" And they go back and forth in these letters, and he goes, "Well, I guess she's not coming back, so just send me Spanish boots of Spanish leather." Mm-hmm. Now he wrote that song at 23 years old, man. I mean, that's pretty intense, and it's not just like that. It's a pretty poetic, involved thing.
Yes,
and it's always surprising to hear. I think guys like Zach Bryan are able to convey that raw emotion, like you said, so early and so passionately, and really kind of make some money in the process.
Right, because we know how your early 20s was. You didn't really have much to say except I want to go and party, and I want to I want to talk to girls or whatever and get their number, whatever. Right. You're just going out and having a good time. So
right.
That's why it was shocking to me that he was able to convey this emotion and be so emotionally intelligent, I guess.
Yes, good
while
point.
At the same time looking back at his relationships leading up to the breakup of Miss Chickenfry, that he really seemed to not have a great past with relationships. So you have him making this whole album. It was the second studio album, Elizabeth, and he recorded this around the time that he was with this Rose. Her name is Rose Madden. That's her full name. He was in the Navy, like you said. He was in the Navy writing this music and all that, and he was getting pretty popular. And Rose, who was also in the Navy, got wind of this, and she started, talking to him, and then long story short, they eventually became a couple.
Okay.
Fast forward, they get married.
Okay.
So he's still carrying on with his music career. She's very supportive about it. Well, suddenly Rose gets deployed.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Zach Bryan's chilling home. All of a sudden, he stops messaging her, stops answering her text messages, and then mails her a letter to file for divorce, and texts her finally and says, "I do not want to be married to you anymore." Now, there's rumors swelling that he was cheating on her while she was deployed, and he found out where she was, and wherever barrack she was, wherever in the world, he mailed the letter for divorce to her while she's friggin' deployed. I mean, I can't even think of a worse way. You get married to someone, then you get deployed, and then you're getting broken up, and then you're getting rumors that he's cheating on you and all these things. So she comes back from her deployment. She refuses to sign the papers, and then they break up. Now, this was in the past, probably when Zach Bryan wasn't maybe super well known.
Mm-hmm.
She posted this whole thing on Instagram saying that Zach Bryan is a narcissist and he mentally and physically abused me. Now, this is deleted. This is stuff that's all kind of like mind dumped. Like no one remembers it anymore.
Right.
Except us, because we did the research. So, so that's the first one. And people say if it wasn't for the photographer that went with them on their, they eloped because this was during COVID, of course. They say we would have no idea because Zach Bryan would have covered this up. We would have no idea that he was with this Rose. We would have no idea about the divorce and all this stuff. People start looking into it though because there's evidence of it. Regardless, that was the first relationship. So then he goes on to this Deborah chick, right? Not too long after this whole divorce, and now this one was a little more private, right?
Yes.
And there's not really much about it. They had some Instagram postings. There's some photos out there of them, but nothing really too much. And then they eventually break up. Allegedly, it's amicable.
Allegedly amicable. Okay.
And then, less than one single month later, who is he with but Miss Brianna Chickenfry? And that takes us to the topic of today's video.
Well, wait. Now, where does this chicken fry come in? Where does the name chicken fry come from?
I'm going to be honest, Dixon. I don't even know.
The whole thing is just so skewed. I mean,
I know.
This is the most like mid 2020s thing I think could ever exist. He's a country singer songwriter in his 20s, and she's on a podcast, and they date, and then they broke up.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Oh, by the way, breaking news. We have it right here. Her last name is actually La Piglia, and her nickname Chicken Fry. It comes from an old viral Vine video of hers where she compared her leg to a Burger King chicken fry.
Wow. Well, I should know who this person is from Vine.
I guess you should.
I feel like.
I guess you should.
I mean, do you remember Vine?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, that was good. That was good stuff.
It was. The kids these days don't know, but yeah, it was great.
They don't know. They have no clue.
No, they have no clue. But yeah, that Vine was fantastic. I mean, that was like TikTok before TikTok.
Yeah, the spyware was American. That's how I prefer it.
That's right. Our spyware was American back then, and it was great.
It was great.
It was great. I love selling my information to American companies. I'll do it all day.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Buy American, support America for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway. No, so it looks like this Brianna chicken fry. It looks like, I mean, the initial reports I'm seeing that Zach Bryan, he was on dating apps while dating Brianna Chickenfry.
Yeah, and not only dating apps, Dixon. Did you know that there is a app that is a strictly private celebrity high for higher ups essentially.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
yeah, for like trying to think of the word, but yeah, it's for celebrities that want to date people of their, I guess, high status.
Interesting.
Yes.
So but you have to be at a certain level to access this.
You do, and I'm not really sure what you have to go through to get on it, but it is somehow private. Now, allegedly, there were leaked DMs from someone that he met on this app, and Zach Bryan said, "Please keep this private. Don't let it leak. I'd love you so much if you just kept this on the down low." Apparently, whoever this was did until this all came out, and then this got leaked. But I mean, this is all hearsay. Like, this might not even be confirmed. We don't know. But it was confirmed, I guess, that he was on these dating apps. Yes.
I mean, I guess when you have that component, the privacy component, but I mean, this guy. I mean, did he think he would just be like, oh, she'll never find out?
I know.
Mean, he's all. This is a house. This has got to be a relatively household name, close to being a household name, wouldn't you think?
I mean, you would think so, but and Dixon, this is why I brought up his past,
right?
His past mistakes, and I think it really highlights as to why this happened, because I don't even know. I don't think he cared.
Yeah.
I have to separate it from his music. I have to separate what he's portraying through these songs and all this emotion that he's giving. I don't know if he actually cares about.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
About these. Imagine you write all these very passionate songs about someone you say you love, and then within like the next month, you're sending them a letter that you want to divorce them while they're friggin' deployed overseas somewhere.
It's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad thing.
So I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe just never loved these. Maybe he's just doing it for. Maybe he's like the male Taylor Swift. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway,
yeah, that could be true.
Yeah. So, So I don't know. I don't know why he thought that he wouldn't get caught. And again, I just have to think that maybe he just didn't care.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Well, it's really something else. And you make such a good point. And there's these. Oh, I guess you make the point about separating the art from the artist, and we made that point before. And I guess when you have guys like Zach Bryan and like artists like Taylor Swift and people who write their songs, right? Yes. You gotta wonder, where does the reality begin and end? And what you want to believe that he's kind of like this, that he's going to write these songs, right? And when you don't see that really kind of sucks in reality. So it's almost, but the person in reality is the art. So how do you separate the person from the art? And this is the person.
I know,
right?
I mean, yeah, and we all get that artists. I mean, they might not. Sure. It might not be 100% true or whatever, but
right.
It's just that when you hear some of the songs, it could be passionate about whatever, and you really feel that, and then you turn around and it's like, oh well, this person's not really what they're conveying. It kind of sucks. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting thing.
Now apparently this Zach Bryan was like a big player too. I don't know. Have you heard about this? Like that he really sleeps around. Have you heard about this?
I don't know if I have. No.
There's a interesting YouTube short that I came across while looking into this, and it was a clip from the BFFs podcast with Chickenfry and Dave Portnoy, and she was actually reading a message that she got that said, Zach is cheating on you. He was with someone in Iowa that he slept with before, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then it's kind of funny because she's like, yeah, and then I read this and I knew it wasn't real because I had my cats there in his van or in his tour bus. And, my cats were there. So like he wouldn't do that. And we fell asleep on FaceTime together. I'm like, he could have just faked that. He could have just fell asleep. And who cares if your cats are there? Like, what are they?
What does that have to do with anything?
What are they carrying? like listening devices or something?
What does that have to do with anything? It's completely irrelevant.
I know. I'm not saying she's kind of airheaded, but when she said that, I'm like, you're not really thinking here, are you, Miss Chicken Fry? I don't know.
Unbelievable. It's always something. Did you see? We have to derail. You watched the new season of Love Is Blind on Netflix?
Oh, me and my wife have been watching that. Yes, a little bit. Now, yeah, I haven't gotten super far though.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Spoiler alert. I'll save it.
Oh, okay. Are you sure? Is it? No, we won't spoil it. We won't spoil it.
We won't spoil. Yeah, spoiler alert. Yeah, we'll save it for another. Yeah. When you get to that moment, we'll talk about it when we see it. But anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got to the part where they're going on their honeymoon. So like I'm only like 4 or 5 in or something. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. You're not going to know who it is, but one of the couples that makes it there. There's debate over he's texting another woman about certain really, really dirty sexual fetishes. And the thing is that he was at a sleep study the night before, but he says, I was at the sleep study and I got drunk. And I'm thinking, can you get drunk during a sleep study? Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
Anyway, yeah.
Dixon, I'm glad you said this because this actually did get spoiled for me. I can't remember how it was on. It was on like some reel. It's the electrician guy, right?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so.
Okay.
It's like,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's like you're saying, like, oh, the cats were there. Who cares? Well, yeah, oh, he's at a sleep study. Oh,
Yeah.
was he really at a sleep study?
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah. I'm just no. He couldn't have done that because he told me he didn't. I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't really prove anything. But okay. So
Boy.
apparently, she always had a lot of people telling her about this. A lot of people were DMing her. I mean, even like pretty like detailed things like, oh yeah, Zach knows some groupie or whatever that he slept with before from Iowa, and like he met with her last night, and because you weren't there, and blah blah blah. And she's like, no, that's not true. I talked to him for an hour the other day, so like I know that he didn't do that.
Interesting. Like, so this would come into this would enter into the Barstool universe at times.
Oh yeah, it would. It's kind of funny because they didn't know. So Brianna actually kept it secret, even from Mr. Portnoy himself.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, she didn't tell us either, Bryce. You didn't tell us that she's dating.
That's a pretty good. You might be the most underrated impressionist on YouTube today. You have a lot of good ones.
I appreciate it.
Oh man! All right.
But yeah. So I don't know, Dixon. What do you make of all this? Like, was this inevitable? Like, was Zach always like this, or was it just destined to fail because it's just some kind of?
Oh man, yeah.
You have a young country music star who's known for this, and then you have a podcast girl. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a tough thing. I think we were going back to Love Is Blind. The way that the females behave on that show, I think, and I don't mean the way the females behave. No, I don't mean that. But they have this certain like a culture or language around them that is essentially chronically online culture. They have this call her daddy, whatever the hell the Chickenfry podcast. They have all this language and these things, and it's just so. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so like
are you trying to say emotional, like manufactured or like
like a manufactured outrage, like kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
And they have this heaviness about them. Everything seems like a problem all the time, and I think this chronically online culture has facilitated everybody complaining all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that when you have Zach Bryan, Zach Bryan is really he's on quite the hot streak, and knowing his history and everything else, and having Brianna Chickenfry with her cats. I mean, I think
on the tour bus,
I think he's was probably going crazy. I mean, because in reality, he could probably walk into a crowd and just pick out any woman. Even though I think he's very unattractive, I don't think he's an attractive man.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He has a certain look. I don't even know how to describe it, but like, it's a certain I can't even describe it. It's just like a grungy kind of like this kid is like a backwoods thug kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's let me put it this way. I wouldn't trust this guy as far as I could throw him. That's the best way that I could.
Yes. He has a face you can't trust. And I have this suspicion that he has an odor about him, like an intangible essence, and you don't know what it's exactly from. But like, it's not like, I'm not saying it's BO, but it's like maybe like a general mustiness. I think like that's the vibe I get from Zach Bryan.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so I think that Brianna Chickenfry in reality could do a lot better.
Sure. 100%.
I looked her up. I looked up her Vine. I have no idea who she is. I have no clue. But I think you make a compelling argument that it was destined to happen, and that was it. And being a young person who is essentially everybody listens to what he has to say, I think you start to buy into your own hype, and you think, okay, I can contribute all these things. When in reality, that might not be the case. Right. That narcissistic trait might really come through, and it might just feeds itself. Yes,
I couldn't have said it better. I think you're absolutely right. I think it was destined to fail, and you have that narcissistic personality possibly come through, and you know, I don't know. Miss Chicken Fry personally or anything. It seems like she was willfully oblivious to all of this stuff. She had a lot of warnings. I think she knew what kind of guy he was. She had all these DMs saying this, but then she took it, being chronically online. It's like, she probably gets harassment all the time too. And it's like, oh, well, this is just another, more online harassment. They're trying to break us up, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I think regardless, either way, if you knew who Zach Bryan was, I mean, maybe you just should have steered clear. I don't know.
You can't change him. They're both still young. I mean, he's on the up and up. I mean, I don't know how sustainable any of these guys are, like him, like Morgan Wallen and everybody else. I mean, but you can't expect to change the guy.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
And I actually thought about this and I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
I could see Morgan Wallen doing this. This is
for sure.
This seems like
this is a Morgan Wallen. Yeah.
This seems like his MO. But I don't even think, does Morgan Wallen even have like a girlfriend ever?
I think so. I think there is a woman there. And I believe that I feel like there's a connection to somebody that's public too. I forget what exactly it was.
Okay.
But yeah, there's somebody in the mix consistently from what I understand.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they were like, "Oh yeah, Morgan Wallen was sleeping with someone else." And like, okay,
Morgan Wallen's not a good person either. Morgan Wallen's an S head for sure. He's just a big shithead, just walking around throwing shit.
What's with all these people with their morals are askew? I don't know what's going on.
Yes, very, very, very skewed. Very morals that are askew and skewed for sure. Because I think it's that idea that, okay, I have a lot to say and people want to hear what I have to say. So I'm infallible and that's it. But I think if I were Brianna Chickenfry and I was dating Zach Bryan and I knew his past, and I think this may be the point that ties it all together.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew his past, right? And then I knew the music he wrote during his past and his relationships and how he behaved in those relationships while writing those songs. And he wanted to talk to me or he wrote a song for me or whatever it is. How do you believe a word he says? How do you buy into it and think, wow, this is really special? Right? Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so perfect. You're right. He's poured his soul out for this person that he literally sent a letter that he wants to divorce them. And now he's no, but he this song this one though, like this time he's like really serious about it and like I'm different and it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and here we are. I mean, she said, I mean, I don't know if everyone probably saw the video. She said she was blindsided, said, I can't believe I care so much about this person. How do they do this? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you take 10 minutes to look into his history, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I see why this happened to me. I get it now. Okay. But
the big question, will there be a Chicken Fry inspired album or EP or singles or something coming out?
That's the other rumor. That's what people are saying. I'd like to know. And I'll say this, in that spirit, I don't think this is done. I don't think we're over here. I think Chicken Fry is going to come out maybe in like a week or so and probably maybe drop some big drama bombs. We don't know. And I think Zach Bryan's just going to sit in the background and just not say anything.
You know, and that's a good point too. And you got to wonder too, with these two being media personalities and wanting clicks and views and streams. Right. I wonder if this is all intentional too.
I know. I hate that we have to think that way now too, because that's all I think about now. I'm like, was this for clout, or are you trying to get more views, like you said, more clicks and stuff? I mean, I guarantee Taylor Swift does it for that, but I don't know. Maybe everyone's just doing it now. Yeah, no, it's for sure. Who knows? It's a dirty world out there now. I'm wishing them the best. I do. We wish them all the best. If Brianna Chickenfry wants a podcast platform to discuss this, you're more than welcome on this show anytime. You want to stop by, please do. You're welcome anytime. Please, for love of God, we need. I can't wait till our first famous person comes on. Please, we've been asking for a long time. We send out all these invites, no one ever gets back to us. I don't get it. Yeah. That's awesome. Speaking of no one ever gets it, have you just to do a quick aside here before we wrap up, because this is a music channel. So have you seen the hype, or maybe the lack of hype around the new Joker
movie with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga?
I've heard a lot of things about it. I mean, me being speaking of chronically online, I'm tied to my YouTube a lot, and I'll see things in my feed, and a lot of people saying that this was not a good sequel to the original Joker.
Right.
Yes.
Because the original Joker is fantastic. I would put Joaquin Phoenix at the top of the list, possibly ahead of Heath Ledger, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yes. Well, I think the Heath Ledger comic book-esque Batman, number one. Joker, as far as the darkness of Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, number one for sure. But it's a musical. And I guess it was known that it was going to be a musical, and they kept saying it was going to be a musical. It turns out it's a musical, and people are upset about that. But I haven't seen it yet. But I'd like to see it. And I was nervous about Lady Gaga when I first saw the trailer. And the trailer gave me no inclination that it was going to be a musical. But Lady Gaga looks like she would be a fantastic Harley Quinn in the trailer.
Oh my God! Yeah, so absolutely.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, that's basically
right.
So who knows?
That is a good point, though. I mean, maybe we could do a whole episode on that, because I feel like that's been pretty popular as well, and a lot of people are discussing it. But you bring up a great point. Everyone knew it was going to be a musical. Yeah. Everyone went to it knowing that, and then they're mad that it's a musical. Like, musical. That's what it is. And they're doing something different. I applaud them for that. I mean, that's true. Well, look at you, Ice. Really bridging the gap here. I'm trying. That's fantastic. Well, that's good. Well, hey, Zach, wherever you're out there, get it together, man. Let's get your ass together. Yeah, please. Yeah, stop breaking poor Chicken Fry's heart, for God's sakes. Oh man, we just need a little peace and love and understanding. And look, read some of your notebooks that you have about loving people and being, just do that. Yeah. Oh man. Hey, well, I guess another celebrity relationship bites the dust, but at least we were here to cover it and offer a little piece to them if they ever want to come on and for a big platform and discuss things. So, it's here if you need it. We're always here. We're always here. For sure. Well, guys, as always, thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.